Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's been quite a while since I have posted. I think this is the longest break I've ever had from posting onto YouTube, and I've really missed sharing projects with you. So I'm just going to get in and start doing this and talk a little bit about what's been happening and why it has been so long since I've posted. But first of all, I want to show you these gorgeous papers that are the Marbled Elegance Specialty Designer Series paper. There are two sides to these. So one side has all this gorgeous marbling and gold foil treatment, and the other side has a coordinating pattern. So you can see from this, there are actually two sheets of this, but I have been playing with this in preparation for the video that I'm doing today. And there are 6 sheets that are really sort of a red tone, even though they've got the pinks through them, but the reverse sides of these all have the red tones. And then there are 6 sheets that are a little bit more pink. This one is between pink and red. It's got both. And this one here, you can see the pinks are coming through, and on this one as well. And I just love all the treatment to this and the beautiful gold fleck that's coming through. And it's a little bit of a departure for me because I don't really do a lot of pink scrapbooking. But this paper I thought would be perfect for the creative design team's YouTube collab this month, where for the past week, the girls have all been sharing, where they've started with a layout and then shown different ways of spicing it up or adding extra elements to it. Now, you're probably thinking, this doesn't need any spicing up at all. This is such a hero paper that I don't really need to add anything else to it. But I do have some things in mind for it, so I hope you hang in there with me while I put today's layout together. And I thought with paper that bright, I'm going to bring in some white backgrounds. This is very similar to White Willow. I'm still using up some White Daisy from Close to My Heart. And the layout I'm going to share with you today, I'm also doing as kits for an upcoming retreat. So what I thought I would do is cut one sheet of this paper. So this is a 1-sheet pattern paper layout, and I've cut it into 4-inch squares, which gives me 9 squares. And I have taken one of those squares and cut it in half to make 2 triangles. So what I'm thinking of doing is lining these up so that they are center on the page. And this is where I'm going to start from. These are going to be centered, and then I'm going to lay out all the other pieces so that they butt up against them. And I'm going to be purposeful about where the pieces of gold are going to go. Obviously, I'm going to have to trim some of these pieces off. And then I'm also going to take into consideration where my photo mats are going. But I don't want the patterns to all line up here. So I think I'll put that one around this way. So I've got a line going up this way, and then I'm going to come back down this way. So I think this one might go up here so that I get more of the gold, because I have in my head what I'm going to do. Whether or not it's going to work is a whole other thing. So what's been happening with me lately, we had 31 days of Christmas cards with the creative design team. And if you missed out on registering for that, the registration is still open. And you can see from what I'm putting up on screen now, some samples of what we put together over those 31 days. There was a video each and every day for October with a handout showing different ways to create Christmas cards. As usual, we focus on the techniques, and we encourage you to use what you have on hand. You don't necessarily have to purchase all of the items that we have. So I'll leave a link for that registration below, because you can get access to the replay of it. The Facebook group isn't going anywhere. And while 31 days of Christmas cards was going on, my parents' house was up for sale and settlement went through. So there was quite a lot of cleaning out to do for that. So that took up quite a bit of time. And then I went on a trip, a girls' trip to Borneo, hence this henna on the back of my hand here. It's starting to fade, so it's not going to be there for all of my videos, but that was from a cultural village excursion that we did while we were there, and I had an absolutely amazing time, but that basically took out the first half of November. So now I'm back and I'm ready to get started and to get some more scrapbook layouts done and share some more videos with you. So you can see I've got my design laid out here, so it's coming across the page like this. And I want to edge these pieces. So I have cut some 1/4-inch strips of black here. I'm just going to see what this looks like. And they're basically going to go up against all of these pieces. So I'm just putting these out to see if I like the look of this. before I adhere anything down. You see, I've done a treatment on this one. So this edging here, that's my first trick of spicing up the layout a little bit. Rather than having all the patterns run into each other, I want to ink the edges of this. Now, I know this looks a little bit off center, so I'm going to bring my pages in so they match. So you can see how this is working. It's almost like a chevron pattern, but it's out of 4-inch squares. And while I'm looking at this, I'm thinking that the black might be a little bit too heavy. I could cut strips in 1/8 of an inch, and that might work. And when I trim these pieces off, I'll be able to fill in these 2 extra pieces that I've got left over here. But what I'm going to do is ink the edges of this. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to take away the black because it's just a little bit too heavy. And you probably guessed what I'm going to bring in next. Just to spice this up a little bit more, I have cut some 1/8 strips of gold glitter paper. Now, this is a close to my heart gold glitter paper, but you can get glimmer paper from Stampin' Up, and I'll leave a link to that below. That will match this perfectly. And I'm thinking I like this a whole lot better than the black. It's just a little bit softer. So I'm just going to lay these out like this. Obviously, I'm going to butt things up against each other. And the black definition here, I think, is going to work really well. Now, this paper is edged with gold foil. It would probably be fine if I inked it up with regular black ink, but I'm going to use StazOn so that the gold foil treatment doesn't run at all when I put this over the edge. Normally, I don't do this over the top of my projects because I don't want any of the little foamy pieces coming off onto my layout, but I can always flip this over. But I wanted to show you it's just a very light inking, and it's going to help separate each of these squares from each other. I'm not going to do all of this on camera for you. Obviously, you don't want to see me go around all 9 of these squares and the triangles and the little off-cut pieces, but I wanted to show you how quick it is just to add that to it. And then when I put that down, that gives a gorgeous separation between each of these squares. So I'm going to do the rest of those off camera, but I have some other things to show you with this. You can see there's bits of fluff coming off here from the sponge dauber. It happens over time. They do deteriorate a little bit. I'm thinking you're getting the idea of where I'm going with this. So each of these elements is going to be edged with the StazOn ink. I've got some photo mats here that I've got in black. And this was the reason why I went to the gold foil. I'm just going to bring this back in again. This is perfectly fine. But when I put my photo mats on there, it starts looking a bit heavy. So that's why I've ended up with the gold glitter paper. Now I've got 2 6x4 photos here and 4 4x4s that are going to go on here. And yes, a little bit of the gold foil is going to get covered up. So that's why I'm getting fairly strategic about where I'm placing the pieces that have got the most gold foil on them. So they're going to be laid out like this. I'm going to bring this one over a little bit. And I've got another brand new product that is going to spice this layout up even more. So a lot of dry fitting going on before I'm happy with everything and then going away to stick it all down. Now I have cut a title on my Cricut. I have a Cricut tutorial on how to use the offset feature. This love is from Cricut Access, and then I've just picked a font to put at the bottom, and I've just placed these with this image from Cricut Access and then put the font here close enough so that the offset goes around and creates one piece, and then just adhere the letters over top. So I'm thinking that is going to nestle in there quite nicely. And this paper here is part of the online release for November, December. It is Valentine's themed, but for me, I think photos of mother-daughter, babies, girls' night out. It could be used for a whole lot of things. It doesn't have to be a Valentine's pack. Now for my embellishments, I'm going to bring in these heart dies. So these are brand new as well. They're called Hearts of Elegance dies, and they're absolutely stunning. You can see you get a lot of hearts here for your money. This one here will give a gorgeous inlay. So I'll just bring that one in so that you can see what that one looks like. And I've used the gold foil paper from Stampin' Up for this piece. So I'm thinking that one's going to go there. This die here puts 3 lots of dots around all of these hearts. So I'm thinking with this large one, I'm going to use that to help anchor my title here. And then I've cut a few more. I've used all the ones that have detailing on them. This one here puts a little dots all the way around the outside. And then I've cut 2 black paper ones. And I think that would look cute just nestled in here in amongst the title. And then I just have to work out where I'm going to put these ones. So I'm going to move this aside for now, but I think these are absolutely fabulous. You can cut these 2 at the same time and get a gorgeous outline if you want to. And this one I think fits in perfectly inside this smallest open heart here, so you can get another outline piece. So I think that's rather special with this. You can see this one, if you position it, you tape them together, you'll get a gorgeous outline heart if you cut both of these at the same time. So I absolutely love these, but as I said, not necessarily for Valentine's Day. Thinking I might do this and work out the placement of these later. Maybe I'll put a black heart over that and then have this one coming out. So I'm going to go away. I'm going to ink up all the edges of these papers. I'm going to adhere these down. The best way to do this when you're adhering something like this is, as I said at the very beginning, center this one first and then build everything else around it, because they will all slot in right next to each other because they're all cut from 4-inch squares. So I'm going to move all of this aside, get my StazOn ink out and ink up all of these pink edges and start adhering things down. I thought I'd just jump quickly back in just to show you how to start this off. You can see I've got 2 pieces down here. I'm just lining this up. If you've got grid paper or a glass mat, I'm using an old Versamat from Close to My Heart. So what I'm doing is I'm just lining this piece up so that it is in the center. So I've got my 6 inches here and I'm just lining this up on the edge, putting that one down, and then I can put the next piece down, butting it right up against the edge. And then my next piece is going to go down. Now I've got adhesive pretty much all the way around this, just working out which way I'm going to do it. But what I'm going to do, I need to put a little bit more here, is just then turn this piece over and trim this away with my scissors. You could use your 12-inch trimmer if you wanted to, but this piece is going to come in handy to fill up the little piece I've got left over at the edge when I work my way back down the page. So I've got that piece put aside, and then I'm going to work my way back down the other edge. This one here, I don't want to match it up perfectly. I've realized I've done that with this one, so I'm going to take this one off and put this one down instead. This is why I love having a repositionable tape runner, because otherwise I would just end up in a little bit of a hot mess, because I don't want the patterns to flow all along perfectly. And then this piece here, I've got a bit of adhesive on there. That is going to go onto here. But first of all, it'll make it easier for myself if I trim this bit away. Now, there is adhesive on that. I have a rub and remove eraser, so I can take that off, or I can just put this on a piece of plastic and put it back inside where I store my paper so that I can use that on another project. So then this piece here with the adhesive there is going to get put up against here, just to finish that row off, and then I can trim away that section. And then I can use some liquid glue if I want to, or my dot roller, and start adding these pieces in. And then I can trim these edges off, and I'll be able to use some of these pieces to fill out the other side that I've missed so far. So I'm just trimming those off. It's much easier to turn it upside down to do this than it is to have the piece the right way around. So just move those off to the edge, and I should have a piece here long enough, I think. This one will do. And I tell you, after being in Malaysia and the Sabah area in Borneo, it was so hot and humid and wet. So having 34 degrees today in Melbourne felt really nice. I didn't struggle with it at all. I think my body has acclimatized almost to the heat, although I have to say I had frizzy hair pretty much the whole time. But we saw some amazing animals, elephants up close. We saw the big 5 in Borneo, so that was fabulous. Big 5 in Borneo are elephants. We saw them in the wild. We actually saw them up close at our accommodation that we were staying at, they came into the grounds, which was very exciting. A little bit scary when the babies came in and the adult elephants couldn't quite get to them. So we just had to be very careful there because you don't want to get in between a baby elephant and a mother elephant. And I cannot wait to scrapbook those photos. But I wanted to start with this layout first, with the Spice It Up theme with the creative design team. So now I'm just going to continue on, adhere this left page down and fill in the gold strips, and then I'm going to bring in my photo mats and the title and the embellishments. So here's the foundation of it all put together. I love how this has turned out. I think inking up the edges of these pattern papers here, the designer series paper, gives the definition between all these sort of tile pieces, these 4x4s. And I have gone along the edges of the pieces that were trimmed off by my scissors with the black inking with the sponge dauber. So this is all nearly finished. You can see I've got one little random dot here because I'm checking out what I would like to put on there. I think I'm going to go with the classic matte dots and use the black ones because there is a lot of gold on here and I don't want to introduce any more gold onto the page. I've popped the title up on dimensionals. I think that gives a great separation from this base layer of the gold heart. The details in this die are absolutely beautiful. And I've just put this little black heart up on foam as well, on dimensionals. So I think this might be just about done. I'm going to bring this up here so you can just see the detail with this. I don't peel back the dimensional cover bit here so that I'm able to slide my photo under, but the details in this, especially with the gold foil paper, it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to put some more of these little dots around. I'm slowly getting the hang of this tool with the little putty on the end. I don't want them to be all in a line like this, so maybe I'll put one over there. So basically 3 dots on each section. And then I start struggling with where I'm going to put these pieces. I think I'll put one here. I'm not pressing down too hard just at the moment so that I can take it off if I need to. Some dots work better with this than others. I found the ones that are really shiny don't necessarily always work, and I end up using the other end of this tool just to slide them off. But I think that might do it. It is a fairly clean and simple layout, but with the addition of the inking on this specialty paper, that spices it up a little bit, lifts it to the next level. Instead of using the black, I think you'll agree, if I put the black strips over here, what I was originally intending on doing, it just makes the layout a little bit heavier. So by adding 1/8 of an inch strips of the gold glitter paper or the gold glimmer paper, just helps lift it and makes it a little bit more light and airy. And then bringing in the gold foil elements here with this gorgeous die set. I am going to bring this back in again because I know that a lot of us have hearts in our die sets, but for me to have all of these extra little details on these hearts and to have so many options in sizes and being able to do outlines of them as well, this is a really good set. I think there's a coordinating stamp set for these floral and leaf elements. I actually didn't get that. I wanted just the heart dies. So I love that we can purchase the dies separately from the stamp set. I know I'm going to be using this one again and again. And the other thing I wanted to mention is I'm going at the tail end of this YouTube collab with the creative design team. Our membership group is actually open for registration at the moment. We're closing registrations at midnight Mountain Time on the 20th of November. That gives us in the Southern Hemisphere until the 21st of November. So if you've been wanting to join, I'll have the link to that down below as well. We only open 2-3 times a year, and you will have access to the whole back catalogue of our classes and our tips. And we always do handouts with our classes, and some of the tips as well have handouts too. So if you've been wanting to join, now is the time. Give yourself a Christmas present, or you could let somebody know that doesn't know quite what to buy you that they could sign you up for the membership. Now I might have another video going up today because my Tag Tuesdays haven't started off yet either. I did do a post saying that they would be starting mid-November, but I only have one day free in between now and Tuesday, so it might be either on the Tuesday or look out for it. We might do Tag Thursday. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for your support, and those of you that reached out to me to check that I was doing okay because I hadn't posted on YouTube for a while. Life got very busy with family and then of course going on my trip as well. So I wasn't able to get out my videos on YouTube like I had wanted to. I hope you enjoyed this layout using just one sheet of pattern paper. Happy crafting, everybody, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.